A boy whose story of survival has given hope to a nation at a time when we so desperately need some good news. William Callaghan is safe and snug in his own bed this morning after spending 2 freezing nights lost in dense Victorian bushland.
And I am pleased to say William's stepfather, Nathan Ezard, joins us now in his first interview about the family's ordeal. Nathan, good morning to you. I've got a million questions. It's so good to see you. How are you?
Good morning. I'm really well.
OK, how's Penny,
well rested.
and most importantly, how's the little boy?
Will is really well, surprisingly well. He's bounced back amazingly. He's fast asleep at the moment, I hope, still. He was when I left half an hour ago. Penny's enjoying being reunited with the dogs and just having some quiet time for the first time in, well, a few days.
Yeah.
But yeah, Will's just doing amazingly.
How wonderful was it to be able to bring him home from hospital and for him to spend his first night in his own bed?
It was thrilling. We got home and he had already taken his shoes off again. And he was straight through the gate and first thing he did was sit down on his swing set and have a big long swing. And Penny had to literally drag him inside out of the cold.
Hey, Nathan, the shots of you holding him were very special and very powerful, and I think a lot of people found that very emotional. Take us back, if you can, to the start of the ordeal, to give that shot right there some perspective, when you went out for a walk. Just to talk us through it all.
OK, just so that everyone understands, I wasn't actually there at the time.
Yeah.
He was actually at a walk with his dad, Phil, and his brother, Robin, and Phil's girlfriend, and they were just having a family walk, just a couple-hour walk in the bushland up there, when Will got separated from them. Now, I first found out that he'd been separated about 4:15. I was doing shopping down here in Drysdale, and Penny gave me a call to tell me the news and to say, time to finish shopping, we got to go. So I threw everything through the register and no bagging, just straight in the car. Got home, we packed a couple of things, jumped in the four-wheel drive and just headed straight up there.
At that point, did you think it was going to take 3 days and 2 very long nights to find him? And what was that time like?
At the time, I was like, oh, he's just going to be found in 10 minutes. We got to go, absolutely, but we're just going to get a call in 10 minutes to be told, yeah, we've got him, go home, it'll all be good.
I mean,
the time up there was excruciating.
Nathan, I get it when you explain everything that happened. I mean, for his dad and for you guys to be sitting there and the wave of emotions.
Whatever I went through, what Phil and Penny have gone through is just so much worse. Phil particularly, I mean, for all of us who work with Will, who are part of Will's life, one of our biggest fears is that he'll go missing on our watch.
Yeah. And
it's excruciating. And so, look, Phil and I have talked lots over the last few days, and, you know, Phil's very magnanimous. He has said to me multiple times over the years and the last couple of days that, you know, you're just as much his dad as I am.
Oh.
And that's, you know, he's a big man. And of course, from my perspective, I've just, you know, I've been there and just been trying to tell Phil, look, I understand this is what you're going through is just horrible. It's you know, the feelings that Phil will have been going through over the last few days are just, you know, they're the worst for any of us. It's any dad's worst fear to lose a child in the bush or whatever like that. To have your kids in harm's way is just, yeah, it's horrible.
Awful.
No, I mean, it sounds like you're this most extraordinary modern-day family and it works so well. But let's go back to, like, that third day, and you now know he's spent 2 nights out on his own in the freezing cold. There are hundreds of people out looking for him. What was that moment like when the call came through that Ben Gibbs, his rescuer, had found him?
Surprisingly, sort of just mundane. I was standing at the Salvation Army van waiting for some gluten-free food to be prepared for us, and one of our friends, Anna, came up to me and said, oh, Nathan, can I have you for a minute? And she's just taken me behind the van and said, they've found Will. And I was just like, and I was stunned, I suppose. I didn't react. I was just like, OK, they've found Will. I better get Penny. Does she know yet? And Penny had actually just stepped away and was actually walking up the mountain. And I was able to locate her on Find My Phone. So I jumped in the car and just drove straight to her, grabbed her. The comms up there were terrible, so no one had been able to call her. She had a couple of police with her, but their comms were also awful, and they'd been only getting garbled messages through, so they didn't really know what was going on either. So they all jumped in the four-wheel drive, we tore back down, and then we had to wait for Will to be brought in. Which, again, more waiting.
Just that moment when you told Penny, explain it, if you can, if you don't mind.
She saw me coming in the four-wheel drive, and I saw her face. I knew then that she had some inkling of what was going on.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was not about, I mean, the whole thing, it's not about us, so we were really just in a mode where we were wanting to get back down there and be there for Will as soon as he got in. So it was very sort of rushed, and we were just like, no, let's get there, we've got to get there for Will. And so it was, yeah, it was very emotional.
For his dad too, I would have thought too, yeah.
And for all of us watching, I mean, what was that like to wrap your arms around him for the first time? I think we got a hint of that in looking at those pictures that were taken.
Yeah, well, Penny was straight in there and she just grabbed him, and she tried carrying him, which wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
So she's asked me to pick him up, and I've grabbed him, and of course, we just didn't want to leave his side at that point. There was no way we were going to go anywhere or do anything but be there with him.
You know, it's been very important, I reckon, this last couple of weeks, the last couple of days rather, because of the fact that he has autism, and because Penny's been able to explain it in a very public way. The frustrations in being able to locate him, and also it's given us all of us parents an insight into how difficult it is as a parent of an autistic child. Explain that.
It really is. Look, it's one of those things where you've got positives and negatives. So while it's really difficult, it is just such a pleasure to be part of Will's life. So yes, we struggle, but it's more that we struggle for Will.
Yeah.
From our perspective, it's just an honour to be part of his existence. But then he has such a difficult time communicating because he can't speak that you know, that's really hard to watch. And look, there's been a lot of people who've worked with him over the last couple of years, and they have given him a lot more of an ability to communicate with us. And, you know, all those people who've worked with him were there on the mountain with us. And so we had such an amazing team there to help us look for him and help everybody know how to look for him.
Beautifully explained and said there, Nathan. But just finally, I mean, what message do you have for Ben Gibbs, who is, of course, the man who found him, and every other SES volunteer, police and community helper who spent 3 days out in that terrain trying to find him?
Yeah. Look, Ben is such a perfect example of the people that were up there. He is, it seems like just an amazing man, and thank you so much, Ben. We really appreciate it. You really took the time to listen to what was said, what Will was needing. You brought socks with you, you put them on him, you knew that he'd have bare feet, you were singing Thomas, you talked to him about Diesel and other Thomas-related stuff, and he clearly, the fact that he let you carry him is a huge thing. Will doesn't like being touched, so you obviously made him feel very comfortable, and he's just Ben is just the perfect picture person for everyone that was up there and the amazing, amazing people that have spent the last 3, how many days it was, looking for him.
You're making our hearts hurt.
Oh, and if
And our eyes water.
if I can give a big shout out to the people from Mansfield Autism Statewide Services, from MASS. They had people on the mountain the entire time. They've done so much for Will over the last few years. Will's come out of this experience with a few cuts and bruises on the bottoms of his feet. Surprisingly few for a kid who wandered around for 2 days in the freezing cold in the bush.
Yeah.
But the resilience that he has is a large part down to the work that they have done, the tireless work they've done with him and so many other kids like Will with those huge difficulties. And they just love him. They wouldn't do anything else. They feel like me that it's just a privilege to get to be around these beautiful humans.
I know that you, communication-wise, it presents its difficulties. but what do you and Penny and Phil, what do you all love about him?
Oh, we love everything about Will. He's got the most beautiful, infectious smile. He bops around the place and jumps, and he loves his little boppy kids tune. So he loves Thomas, I think, mainly because he loves all the happy music on it. And he self-regulates his moods really well with music. And he keeps him, if he's feeling a bit down and you'll see him get tears in his eyes, you hand him an iPad and let him turn on some music and he'll be bopping around in 5 minutes. He's not someone who gives much physical touch or eye contact, but when he does, it just... If he comes and gives you a hug, you know that's hard for him, and he's giving so much back in those little actions. And when he wants to have a cuddle or stuff, it's just beautiful.
Oh my God!
Well, I tell you what, you've got all of Australia's fallen in love with William now
and
too,
and you,
and with you, Nathan. I mean,
Look,
it's such
everyone who ever has anything to do with Will just loves him. He's amazing. Ben mentioned that when he came across him in the clearing, he was standing there and he looked like an angel, and that is how Will looks. He is a little angel. He really is sent from heaven. He's just beautiful.
We are just so glad you've got him back safe and sound at home, and that he's sleeping in this morning.
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah. You right?
Yeah. I am. I'm really good.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, my man. Give our love to Penny and also Phil, Will's dad, and the whole family, all the connections. And best of luck moving forward. You've made our lives all the better and brighter for getting to know you this week. Thank you for being part of it.
Thank you. Thank you guys very much.